A machine powers up a sleeper and Ryland blinks awake from a medically induced coma. Mary, the ship's AI, runs a cognitive check, but Ryland has no memory and panics. He scrambles off the table, dodges a robot arm, and bolts through corridors hunting for crew. He finds a body and freezes. He keeps moving, bewildered, until a window reveals the black. He's in space. He recognizes equipment, so he realizes he's a scientist. In another room, massive screens loop Earth footage. He finds clean clothes. Mary asks for a video log, but he demands the captain. Mary informs him he's alone. He orders the ship home. Mary doesn't understand. Ryland spots a bright star and assumes the sun. He wants to message Earth. Mary warns a transmission would take nearly 12 years. He checks the map, then the fuel low. Crunching numbers. He figures they're 113.8 light years from Earth. A headache unlocks memory. He's a molecular biologist who tracked the ARC probe and the Petroval line, and infrared filament dimming stars. As a middle school teacher, he'd calmed panicked kids, explaining the Preval line siphoned infrared toward Venus, cooling the sun over decades. Back aboard, Ryland shaves, scrounges supplies, finds vodka, and drinks. He sifts through the crew's things, fashions a rag doll, dances to stave off loneliness, and pins notes to a whiteboard to reconstruct himself. Flashback, Eva, Prova team lead, reads his paper arguing life could exist without water and recruits him. He protests he was fired for it. She knows it was for insulting a superior. She shows him probe samples that survive on a star. He agrees to help. In the lab, Ryland tests the samples under scrutiny. They move but are pitch dark. He lightens them and identifies alien cells. One test kills a cell but reveals composition. Further analysis shows they're mostly water, busting his theory and angering him. The cells glow infrared, matching the Preval frequency. They siphon stellar energy to propel themselves. Eva sends him away to brief others, but he begs to continue and is allowed to keep 3 cells. Puzzled why they flock to Venus, Ryland rigs an experiment. A box emitting Venus-like infrared. The cells vanish from the dish and reappear inside the box. Proof they need CO2 and sunlight. He seals the lab with the box, shuts lights, reopens, and finds not 3 but 4 cells. Evidence they reproduce given both conditions. He calls Eva with the result. Military whisk him off. High-speed travel terrifies him and he medicates. He wakes on a carrier, sick, then meets global leaders who replicate his results. They name the organism astrophage and plan to mass-produce 2 million kilos as fuel. Ryland balks. Eva reveals Project Hail Mary. Stars everywhere are dying except one, Tidy, 11.9 light-years away. If Tidy is immune, sending a craft could reveal why. They need astrophage as one-way fuel. Crews will be comatose for most of the voyage and never return. The mission will take 3 specialists and is a desperate gamble. Hence, Hail Mary. Ryland reclaims his hair and suit after the memory flood. He mourns the dead crew, packs their photos, thanks them, and ejects the bodies. As Tidy approaches, engines cut and gravity fails. Ryland floats, peers out, and spots a Preval line near the star. But Tidy is healthy. A stranger ship appears and shadows them. Ryland panics, flies off clumsily, but the other vessel persists and fires an object that bounces off his hull. It launches another, slower object. Ryland suits up and chases it on a clumsy EVA, grabbing it just in time. Back aboard, he can't open the device. Scans say it's xenon. A nonsense. He recalls the ship's centrifuge, spins up gravity, rescans, twists the cap, and opens it. Mary alerts to a foreign presence. Inside a glove box, he finds a lined sphere and a smaller rod-studded orb that springs upright and maps stars. Ryland rearranges rods to mark Earth and returns it. The alien sends a tubular construct that instant builds a tunnel between ships. Ryland crosses the tunnel and glimpses movement behind a window, recoils, then steadies and watches an alien hand toy with models of Ryland and a ship. The alien signals for him to go back. It disconnects, rotates its craft, reconnects, and when Ryland opens the hatch, pressure slams him. Gravity now works in the tunnel. He installs lights and approaches the window showing a noodle model of the alien ship. The creature approaches, a walking, rocky being. Their greeting startles Ryland. The alien emits a frightening noise and he waves a tool. The alien backs away. Ryland apologizes. The alien mirrors his motions. They clown and then poke the glass back and forth. The alien points behind Ryland and leaves another parcel. A collar made of 2 rings of 8. The alien gestures to remove his helmet. Ryland hesitates, then deciphers the rings as oxygen indicators and, risking it, removes his helmet. He can breathe. Examining the first message, Ryland recognizes Perval-line artifacts here too. This species faces the same stellar threat. He returns to propose cooperation but needs a language. He tries math, offers a tape measure. The alien plays with it. A clock gets no reaction until Ryland modifies it so numbers pop out. The creature, now Rocky, sees and cheers. Ryland adapts a laptop and mic, points at clock numbers, records Rocky naming them, and builds a basic translator by cataloging Rocky's object responses. He dubs the alien material Xenonite. When Ryland shows Rocky the astrophage, Rocky recoils. It's the enemy. It lost its crew the same way and is relieved to find another survivor. They vow to save stars together. Ryland teaches a fist bump and shares his data. He tests voice settings until Rocky likes one. Rocky mistakes Ryland leaving for death. Ryland explains sleep, learns Rocky's culture sleeps together for safety, and reluctantly shares a bed by the window. Flashback. Eva introduces Ryland to 3 volunteers who want a humane self-termination option post-mission. Ryland demonstrates the engine as astrophage melts metal by the ton. Rocky returns in its pressurized bubble to explore the human ship and scolds Ryland's mess. It insists on co-locating. Rocky's ability to see through walls and pinpoint sounds strips Ryland of privacy. Together they realize Rocky's people don't understand radiation. Rocky survived because its workshop sat in an astrophage shadow. They need astrophage samples, so Ryland sends his ship to a nearby planet while Rocky helps. On an 11-day run, Ryland shows Rocky Earth clips. Rocky mourns a mate of 186 years. Ryland remembers awkward crew bar nights and Eva's reassurance that camaraderie eased the mission's weight. At the planet, Ryland uses a light to lure astrophage. Swarms glitter and he names the world Adrian. Samples return but tests reveal astrophage don't stay. They arrive and leave, and bacteria ride mixed with them. That means life on Adrian. Predators in its clouds keep astrophage in check, preventing them from overwhelming the star. If those predators can be relocated to infected systems, they could halt the spread. Rocky proposes a long chain to net cloud bacteria. Ryland rigs piloting skills through frantic practice. Rocky films what it thinks is live streaming for Earth. Ryland corrects that probes will carry their data later. When Ryland confesses he'll die on the mission, Rocky refuses and offers fuel from its own tanks, slowing its return but letting both survive. Ryland weeps and embraces Rocky's bubble. Flashback. 3 days before launch, a lab explodes. Present. Ryland maneuvers the ship low, deploys a chain and probe into the atmosphere. The probe fills, but heating damages the hull. Debris strikes Ryland, knocking him out. He wakes to the probe hanging from a tether below the ship as temperatures spike. Rocky urges retreat. Ryland leaps for the probe, is struck again, entangles in the tether, cuts free with a knife, and clings back to the hull until he hauls himself inside. They flee the planet, but the hull tears and the ship spins. Ryland plots that 2 fuel tanks leak and must be jettisoned. He fights the shaking, ejects them, and the ship stabilizes. The jolt knocks them out. Ryland comes to, fumbles for centrifugal gravity, blacks out again. Rocky wakes. The translator fails, and in desperation leaves its bubble to operate controls. The ship slows, gravity returns, and Rocky collapses from the strain. Robots tend Ryland while Rocky passes out. Another flashback. The lab blast killed the original scientist and backup. There wasn't time for training, so Eva coerced Ryland. He fled but guards sedated and placed him aboard. Present. Ryland trails strange stains like Rocky's blood. He finds Rocky recovering in its bubble and sleeps beside it. Rocky posts a message pleading to save their homes. Ryland isolates a bacteria that consumes astrophage, names it Tomoa, and cultures it in xenonite vats, engineering traits to survive Venus-like conditions. Days pass. Rocky remains unconscious and Ryland nervously decorates its bubble. Eventually, Rocky wakes. They celebrate the thriving Tomoa farm, enough to attempt homeward work. Rocky dons Sinite, Ryland crafts paper hats, gifts a laptop and a stress ball. Rocky feels small. Ryland asks to see its ship, and they reconnect. Rocky's technology astonishes him. Memory returns. Ryland refused the mission originally. Eva forced him. Now Rocky helps repair his craft and it's time to part. They share a tearful farewell in the tunnel, then separate. Alone again, Mary warns of contamination. Ryland inspects Tomoa and finds a broken xenonite container. He transfers the culture into a sealed box. Panic! Rocky's ship is built of xenonite. If Tomoa escapes, it'll devour its hull and fuel, stranding Rocky. Ryland calculates rescue windows and realizes he can't both save Rocky and return to Earth. He chooses Rocky. He packages his research and the Tomoa farm into probes for Earth and reroutes his ship to help his friend. Days later, he finds Rocky's drifting ship, pounds the window, and Rocky lets him in. Years on Earth, probes land and Eva watches recordings of Rocky. Earth has begun freezing, but now they have hope. Rocky's world already recovered, and Ryland settles there in a house, fluent in the alien tongue. When scientists finally build a vessel to take him home, Ryland declines. He stays teaching alien children and continuing work with Rocky.